Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Hakuouki Demon of the Fleeting Blossom. We are on Hajime Saito's route. We're still going through the skipping through, making choices along the main common route, so we'll be skipping a little bit more still before we get to his specific main story. So let us continue along that. You can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story. Alright, we're back at this choice. We have to be worried most about the Furies. And this time we have to be especially worried about the guard, because this is the point where Ito has split off, and Saito and Heisuke are going with him. So, how are we going to handle this? Are we going to be separated from him, or are we going to go with the guard? Let us see. What worried me the most were the people leaving with Ito. Heisuke and Saito. Would I ever get to see them again? Was this goodbye? I wanted to know what they were thinking. Were they still around? As I stood up to go look for them, I spotted Yamazaki walking toward me. I heard you were injured. Are you feeling better? Yes, I'm fine. Have you, seen Heisuke and Saito? Todo and Saito. His expression turned grim at the mention of their names. It was quite clear how he felt about the men who'd chosen to leave the Shinsengumi with Ito. Sorry for asking. I turned quickly to leave, but he held out a hand to stop me. I saw them going off that way. Thanks. My voice came out more cheerful than I'd intended, but he didn't seem to notice. If you want to speak with them, do it soon. Once they have left, you won't be allowed to talk with them. Yes. There they were. Heisuke, Saito. Well, shoot. It looks like you found us. Oh, did you want to be left alone? I can go. No, of course not. I wanted to talk to you too. But I want to talk to Saito, not you. Good. The smile he gave me was strained. I imagined we'd see you before we left. If you have something to say, say it. Right. I'll miss you. I wanted to know why they were leaving the Shinsengumi, of course, and why they had decided they were going to follow Ito. I just wanted to hear it from you. Why are you leaving the Shinsengumi? That's top secret for Saito. Why, huh? He scrunched up his face and scratched nervously at the side of his nose. Well, Ito and I are from the same school. He's my senior, obviously. He joined the Shinsengumi at first because I invited him. Ah, I had no idea they were close at all. So, I feel like I'm kinda obligated to stick with him, you know? I guess that's it. Heisuke had always struck me as kind, so it was no surprise that he felt he couldn't abandon Ito. But that means you'll leave everyone else behind. You might not ever get to see them again. I'm not really one of Ito's followers, I guess you might say, but I was and am a national imperialist. So it just kinda seems like working for somebody like the Guardians of the Imperial Tomb is a better fit for me than working for the Shogunate. Then, what he was saying was that, while he and Kondo might agree on nationalism, they differed too much in regard to the Emperor and the Shogun. I couldn't really think of anything to say, so I kept my mouth shut. After a moment, he continued. I'd wanted to stay here and screw around and have fun with the guys. I mean, we've been together for quite a while, right? His gaze drifted off into the distance, and there was something in his profile that seemed almost heartbreakingly lonely, but his mouth was a hard line. His mind was made up. What about you, Saito? I looked up at him. Joining Ito and his men serves my own ambition. Are you a national imperialist too? Yes. Kondo and Hijikata are well-intentioned, but mistaken. The expulsion of the foreign influence can no longer be left to the shogunate. And because you don't agree with them, you're willing to walk away and never see them again. Saito nodded. Fool your friends before you fool everyone else. It can't be helped. If I must set my feelings for the Shinsengumi aside in order to fulfill my ambitions, then I will. But... I had to say I felt betrayed. How could you do this to us? We've been together for so long. It hadn't been my attempt, but when my mouth opened, all that came out were accusations. And now you're just going to abandon us? Please don't say that. This is hard for us too, alright? The look he gave me nearly broke my heart, and in that moment I suddenly understood how he felt. He was suffering too, perhaps just as much as I was, and yet I'd said some horrible things. No, I'm sorry. See ya. Oh! And then he was gone, and I was left with my apology still forming on my lips. Hey, Skye. How could I have been so inconsiderate?
Because we worked together once, now we must always work together. You believe that no matter my ambitions, I should remain here for no other obligation than some sense of camaraderie. One must master their emotions, or be mastered by them. To let emotion guide my judgment is the beginning of the end.
But can you ignore your feelings so easily? Isn't it hard for you to leave your friends behind?
No. If my duty requires me to kill a friend, then I will. There can be no hesitation.
I don't think I could ever understand that. Duty is important to you, I know, but was duty the only function of a member of the Shinsengumi? Did they exist only to fulfill that duty at the exclusion of everything else? That seemed awfully, horribly sad. I wanted to speak, to tell Saito how I felt, but I knew that no matter what I said, it would simply slide off him, unacknowledged and unwelcome. Saito, for his part, said nothing. We stood silently for a moment, until he moved toward one of the many blossoming cherry trees that covered the temple grounds. Too beautiful for words.
How many of these blossoms have I seen since I came to Kyoto, I wonder?
Cherry blossoms? It must have been my imagination, but I could have sworn that Saito's face, as he looked at the cherry blossoms above him, was sad.
As time passes, things change. The world, people's ideas, even the Shinsengumi.
He reached out gently and let a single petal fall into his palm. For several moments, he simply looked at it. Are we changing too? He looked up. Our eyes met. We have. Is that why you're leaving? Because we've changed? He didn't answer, only gazed quietly up at the cherry blossoms. His mind had been made up long ago. There was nothing I could say that would change it now.
Even so, that does not mean everything must change.
I was surprised, not by his words, but by the small smile that appeared with them.
As times change, and life changes with it, there are some things which do not change. I believe in those things that do not change.
Things that do not change?
Yes.
And that somehow meant he should go with Ito? It didn't make any sense. It will later. What Saito believed in was something else. I didn't know what yet, but I could feel it. So long as he didn't change, so long as he was still the man who could look at the cherry blossoms and smile, then perhaps it was okay. Even if he was far away, perhaps our hearts could still feel the presence of one another. It was sad to think that he would no longer be nearby, but... Saito, could you give me that petal?
Of course. What do you intend to do with it?
I won't do anything with it. I just want to keep it. A reminder of my time with him.
That's odd. Here you are, I suppose.
Thank you. I'll treasure it. What do you mean that's odd? I can tell that you're just a sentimental. And here again I have to admit to Sen that I'm staying with the Shinsengumi because of a man. Alright, this time we have to stay in my room for once. For the first time. Alright, I'll stay here. Shimada, go help the others. I'd seen what the demons were capable of. The Shinsengumi would need as many men as possible if they were going to have any hope of fighting them off.
No, I can't do that. I've been ordered to guard you.
Yeah, you really can't go now. Suddenly, silently, Amagiri appeared behind Shimada. How had he gotten there? I hadn't even seen him enter the room.
Is something wrong?
Behind you! My surprise must have shown on my face. Shimada, behind you! He spun around, but not fast enough. Shimada flew across the room, slammed into one of the building's support pillars, and lay still. Shimada?
Hold, you're coming with me.
Okay, now that we actually have a close-up of him, I don't think we got a close-up before. He doesn't have any eyebrows! Where are your eyebrows, Amagiri? It really freaks me out when people don't have eyebrows.
I do not wish to continue this, but continued foolishness will be a problem.
With a single arm, he lifted me off the ground as if I weighed no more than a pillow, shifted me into a better carrying position, and stepped through the door. So we're ending up in that scene no matter what, huh? Where was he taking me? He moved unhindered to the back entrance. The rest of the Shinsengumi had been drawn off by the commotion elsewhere. I could hear the clangs of swords from somewhere nearby, but I couldn't see anything. Perhaps if I cried out. Almost as if he had read my mind, Amagiri spoke, his voice rumbling threateningly in his chest.
Stay silent and no one will be hurt. Our objective is your capture, not the death of your companions.
I saw Shimada's limp body crumpled at the base of the pillar and bit my lip. What should I do? I shall stay quiet. If I resisted, the Shinsengumi would suffer. But if Amagiri was telling the truth, then all I had to do was keep quiet and they'd be safe. We left the Nishi Hongwanji temple and shot out into the back streets of Kyoto. He ran so fast I almost felt as if we were flying. His hold on me had never relaxed, but he was moving faster than I'd ever seen anyone go. Not only were demons strong, it seemed they had other powers we'd yet to see. I shuddered. For now, it was probably best that I stayed quiet. I didn't know where he was taking me, but perhaps I could learn something about them if I did as he asked. My goal would be to gather information and then look for an opportunity to escape. I was trying to guess where we might be going when Amagiri suddenly stopped. What's wrong?
I felt that if I kept running, my legs would be cut from my body.
Ah, so somebody's sword is near. Could it be Saito? What? Before I had a chance to ponder what he'd meant, Amagiri called out to the darkness.
Why don't you show yourself?
After a moment, I saw a shape move in the shadows. It stepped forward into the light, revealing... Saito?
How strange that I would meet you here. Will you let me pass? I am in something of a hurry. You have attacked the Shinsengumi headquarters and have taken someone under their protection. I'm afraid I cannot let you pass.
Saito's cold eye slid to me. Whatever he was thinking was lost on me, but I saw a glimmer somewhere deep within them that gave me courage.
Why? I was led to believe you are no longer part of the Shinsengumi. My relationship with the Shinsengumi is irrelevant. What is relevant is the girl. I somehow doubt she is accompanying you of her own free will. Is that true? What is your intent? Is that not clear? This!
The final word became a sudden yell, and Saito launched himself toward Amagiri, his sword springing from its scabbard. The momentum of his charge drove the blade into a sideways slash. I heard the hiss of his sword pass inches from my ear.
Fast, I see. A shame you were only human.
Can you imagine how dangerous he'd be if he was a demon?
You intend to fight while holding her? I was under the impression you wished to take her alive.
True, if Amagiri hadn't dodged that last strike, I would have been split neatly in two.
Make your decision. Her death means nothing to me.
He'd attacked Amagiri, presumably to rescue me, but then he claimed it didn't concern him whether I lived or died. That's a bit of a contradiction. I knew a statement of disinterest in my life to be a lie, but did Amagiri? Would the demon take that chance? Suddenly, the weight of Amagiri's grip was gone.
Fine. I'll pretend your ruse defeated me for tonight. Goodbye.
He's just gonna be like, alright, I know you're faking me out, but I'm just gonna roll with it. I don't feel like dealing with this anymore. And with that, Amagiri was gone. Another shadow in a night full of them. Thank you, Saito. His sword hissed back into its sheath.
You are unhurt.
Yes, I'm alright. I didn't even get a scratch. Would he have really killed me if Amagiri had refused to back down? It didn't seem very likely to me, but there was no way to know for sure without asking him. Then again, asking him wouldn't help either. I doubted he would give me a straight answer if I did.
What are you laughing about?
Oh, nothing. None of that, however, answered the question that had abruptly forced itself into my mind. What was Saito doing here? Are you going to come back to the Shinsengumi?
Don't misunderstand. I was only passing through.
Passing through? The back streets of Kyoto? In the middle of the night? The only place he could have been going was the temple.
In any event, members of the guard are forbidden from fraternizing with the Shinsengumi. If we're seen here, there'll be trouble. Go.
But I'm not actually part of the Shinsengumi. The expression on Saito's face was not one I'd seen before. On another person, I might have called it surprise.
That is an interesting view. Unfortunately, I doubt your commander will appreciate the nuance.
Commander? Yes, he had a point. Hijikata would almost certainly take a much stricter view of the situation. If Saito's words and actions were any indication, however, his heart was still with the Shinsengumi.
Hurry, you should return.
But Saito, weren't you on your way to the temple? He shook his head.
If you refuse to leave, then I will. I can no longer sense the demon. You should be able to return safely.
Here I decided to stay home. No, let's go find Saito! Although we've already done that before. And for once, I went to help.
What? Is there something else?
I want to help. Please, if there's anything at all I can do.
Help?
Oh no. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea. He didn't look very happy. Because, was he really mad? I was starting to very much regret speaking up, so much that I began to wish Sanin would come back, just to give Hijikata someone else to glare at. I don't know, he looks confused to me.
Like, what the hell am I supposed to do with her?
No, that would have been bad too. But what was I going to do? Give up? No, I'd come too far. If I backed down, then nothing would change. I couldn't be one of them if I just let them protect me all the time. Please, I just want to be useful. I'll do anything.
The
silence stretched out so long, I thought I was going to scream.
I suppose you would be more discreet than one of our boys.
He spoke to himself, barely loud enough for me to hear. Hijikata?
Brush and paper.
Huh?
Bring me a brush and some paper. You do have that in here, don't you? Hurry.
Yes, right away. I scrambled across the room, grabbing a brush and paper, and handed them to Hijikata. He took them silently, still scowling, and quickly began to draw. A map? What is that? He ignored me and continued drawing.
You know Saito is at Tenma, guarding Miura, right?
Yes.
I want you to take in something. Will you do that?
You think I can?
Yes. One of our boys would stand out too much. You're the best option I've got right now. Can I trust you with this?
Yes, of course. Sir? I was thrilled to help, of course, but I was even more ecstatic to be given a task specifically suited to me.
There, I drew a map. Keep to this and you shouldn't get lost.
Right, thank you. Oh, I think you underestimate my ability to get lost. I don't know about Chizuru, but I can get lost anywhere in real life. You know, the funny thing is I navigate really well in video games, but I can't do it in real life. The map was pretty straightforward, but I still barely knew my way around Kyoto. Without it, I likely would have gotten lost. Alright, I'm going. I turned to leave, and only a concerted effort kept me from skipping toward the door.
Hold on, genius. Hard to deliver a message if you don't have one.
Oh.
You're making me nervous, kid. You sure you can handle this?
Yes, of course. I'll do a great job.
Here's a letter for Saito. Make sure you don't drop it, or lose it somehow.
Yes, I'll be very careful. Is there anything you want me to tell him?
Everything I have to say is in that letter.
Understood. Then I'm off. This time, I wasn't able to fully subdue the urge to skip. He's probably like sighing behind my back seeing that.
And there she goes. Hey, Yamazaki, Shimada. Yes, sir. Did you call? I sent Chizuru to take Saito a letter. Keep an eye on her, but don't let her see you. If anything happens, make sure she's okay. Understood.
Oh, look at him smiling. He knows Hijikata's worried.
Hopefully, if something does happen, it'll just be some idiots trying to get to Miura or something. There's some pretty dangerous guys after her, though. If the demons show up, just get her back here immediately. I don't care if you have to carry her like a sack of rice. Just make sure all three of you come back.
I could see that happening too.
Yes, sir. We're off.
Somehow, Shimada doesn't seem like a good person to be shadowing someone.
Yeah, get going.
I stuffed the letter into my shirt, double-checked to make sure it wouldn't fall out, and then opened up the map. This is my chance. I have to do a good job. According to this map, it looks like I have a ways to go. I better hurry, or it's going to be evening by the time I get there. I should run. Even without the desire to arrive before evening, I likely would have to run anyway. I was far too excited to walk. Lots of energy. Thanks to Hijikata's map, I found my way to Tenma without incident, although evening had come by the time I had arrived. I'd been told earlier that Saito had taken a room under the name Yamaguchi. After a short wait, the receptionist directed me to his room. Yamaguchi, sorry to bother you. Oh, you're terrible at this, girl. That's the first time I've seen that look on his face.
Oh, you.
One of his eyebrows shifted up fractionally in response to my presence. Although I'd likely been expecting the letter, I was somewhat less predictable, having only been assigned to the task earlier that day. I'm sorry you got someone as inexperienced as me.
No, you misunderstand. I was only surprised. I expected to receive new orders soon, but I didn't think you'd be the one to deliver them.
Right. Well, I asked if there was anything I could do to help, and this was it.
Well, I can see his thinking is a good plan. One of our regulars would have drawn undue attention to this location. The captains are too recognizable and too valuable. New members might not be noticed, but how can we know where their true loyalties lie? You, on the other hand, can move unnoticed, and your loyalty is beyond question. Hijikata made an excellent choice.
Oh, thank you. There was something very pleasant about being told I was trustworthy.
The letter?
Oh, of course. I pulled out the letter and handed it over. Good thing I didn't lose it. He tore it open and read it over quickly, then lit it on a nearby lantern and watched patiently until it was nothing more than ash. Saito?
Yamaguchi.
Right. You really are terrible at this, Chizuru. Are you sure it's okay to burn it? Duh, you don't want anybody else seeing it.
I've read it. I know what it says. Why should I leave it intact to be intercepted?
Oh, of course.
Thank you for delivering this letter. Good work.
Oh, well, just doing my job. No need for thanks. I certainly hadn't done anything very impressive. Anyone could have done it, but it did feel nice to be thanked. After all, I had done just what was asked of me, and I hadn't messed anything up. I was rather proud of myself. Now the job was done, though. I wasn't quite sure what I should do next. I should stay and talk. We need to get to know each other a little bit more. Saito had been ordered away from the Shinsengumi for the duration of his assignment. This was the first time I'd been able to see him in a while, and there was no way to know when he'd return. The fact that I didn't know when I might see him again made me reluctant to simply turn around and leave. I miss you, Saito. I'd like to stay and talk for a bit, if that's okay with you.
Talk? To me?
Yes. Had it really been such an odd request? The longer he stayed silent, the more I began to sweat.
I suppose that's all right. Not here, though.
Huh? I opened my mouth to ask, but he was already walking away. Quickly, I jogged to catch up.
This should be far enough.
We reached a small back street nearby, and he finally stopped. Looking back, I could still see Tenma, but there weren't many people around, and the streetlights didn't reach us. Standing in such a narrow street forced us into somewhat closer quarters than normal. Why are we out here?
My duty is to guard Miura, and we don't know when we might be attacked. Hijikata sent you because you won't be noticed. Unfortunately, I don't have the same luxury. My face is well known, and if I'm spotted, our plan is ruined. There won't be many people here. We should be safe.
That's true. Sorry, I didn't think of that.
Don't worry about it. It's my job to think of these things. Your responsibilities lie elsewhere. Why else do you think I'm assigned to these sort of missions? There is nothing for you to be ashamed of, and therefore no need to apologize.
Right.
So, how are things at home? Anything out of the ordinary?
Well, everyone's been busy lately. After all that happened, I guess things are pretty restless right now.
I imagine so. Even without our recent losses, our numbers were significantly reduced.
Yeah. For several moments, Saito was silent, deep in thought.
How's Heisuke?
I expected him to ask eventually. What man in his position wouldn't have been concerned for his friend? Well, as far as I can tell, he's still the same person he was before. I mean, he's a little different just because he can't be up and about during the day, but... Well, even though he still acts like the same person... No, I guess because he does, I worry about him.
Interesting.
Saito? Can I ask you something?
What is it?
If you got injured, like Heisuke or Sanin, or if you had to help your friends, would you drink the water of life?
Yes, if that was what duty demanded of me.
He showed no hesitation. Indeed, he hadn't even seemed to think about the question. That worried me. But, Saito, you've seen what happens to the Furies. How can you be so sure?
Look.
In one smooth movement, he drew his sword from its sheath. Ah, so beautiful. Moonlight glinted off the blade, bright but cold.
This sword has drawn blood, great rivers of it. Even I can't remember all the springs that fed them. I am not the kind of person who deserves your concern.
His voice was quiet and hard.
I have killed my enemies and my allies too many to count. I have no doubt that I will die in battle, such is karma. The course of my life would not change if I were to drink the water of life and become a Fury. I live by the sword, and one day I will die by it, Fury or no.
There seemed to be no emotion attached to the thought of his own death. But the sword also protected me. I know I don't have any right to say killing people is bad, but you used that sword against others to protect me. I share your karma. I'm alive because someone else is dead. Even so, I still want to live. I want my friends to live. I want you to live. Even if that means someone else has to die. Does that make me a bad person?
No. If what you desire is life, how can you be wrong? All too often, doubt is little more than a poison. We've been out here too long. It's time we return to the Shinsengumi, and I return to Miura.
And time to end this video. I wonder how much of this stuff is in Heisuke's route, because it seems like Saito and Heisuke share quite a few scenes. Alright, well, I hope to see you in my next video, or in some of my other ones, and I'd be so grateful for any likes, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye bye, everybody.